Fishing for snapper in the shallows requires the right sort of terrain. Any area that has a rocky bottom with plenty of seaweed and a bit of current will hold snapper. It pays to look around using the sounder to find shallow gutters or channels. Hi, welcome to Daiwa Fishy Business. Today we're doing some shallow water snapper fishing. It's early autumn and that's the time of year when the fish have generally finished spawning and they move up into the shallows to feed up large. So we've come round to Motutapu Island and we're going to be working some really shallow areas between 1 to 4 metres of water. Might go out a little bit deeper if the fish show up there, but mainly in the shallows. And these fish are hunting on crabs, anchovies and all sorts of things. And they swim amongst the weeds, so you've got to be really onto it. Mainly we'll be lure fishing, but we might try a little bait if we have no success with the lures. So join us for a bit of shallow water snapper fishing. Use very lightweight lures that have a slow descent. Soft baits and slow knuckle jigs are ideal as they imitate scared baitfish and make the fish strike very aggressively. Well, only probably my third cast and I got nailed. A hungry fish, but not a very big one. But it's a good start to the day. Quickly just let them go. Hopefully they get a bit bigger than that. Pretty wicked how they hit in those shallows, Craig.
Yeah, she's nice.
I'll go and just play that one. It's a pretty light rod. I'll just go and get the net. Oh no, he's only a little fella. I'll trace them for you. Well done. Let a bit of line out, too much line there.
Starting to get a little bit bigger.
Yeah. So there we go. Craig hasn't done much of this sort of fishing, but he's learning really quickly. That fish has absolutely grabbed that soft bait. Beautiful. We'll just take the hook out, let him go. Whoop. Snapper are opportunist feeders and will actively feed on baitfish in the shallows. What I'm doing is casting into slightly deeper water and bringing my lure back into the shallows, and hopefully bringing it just up over the weed and the rock to where the fish are. Keep your lure in motion at all times to imitate a scared baitfish. Mate, you're onto it.
Yeah, loving it.
Hey, good fun on that little light rod.
Oh, it's good.
It's only actually it's supposed to be a little trout travel rod, but it works pretty well with the old light water soft baiting stuff.
They look a little bit bigger. Definitely feel them nibbling when you...
I'll come and give you a hand with that one. So this time try not to wind up too high so it makes it a bit... You think we need a net?
Yeah.
I think we better, just to be safe.
Feels a bit better than the last couple. Thank you.
Oh, there we go. Let a bit of line out, mate. That's a nice little quality fish. Look at that, beautiful.
This shallow water soft baiting's awesome. Love it.
Keep an eye on the sounder and keep moving around to set up each drift. Check your lures after each fish to make sure they're in good order, and check your leader for chafing, as the next fish could be a big one. We've just moved up for another drift. We're going along at a nice little pace, you know, just under a knot, covering the ground, casting forward and letting the lures come back towards us. And that's one of the good techniques, but you've got to stay in contact with that line. That's where your Daiwa J-braid and things like that really pay off, because no stretch, and you see the colour of the line. You see any movement on the surface of the water with the line, you strike straight away in this shallow water.
Oh, right. That's a bit more exciting. That's a lot more exciting. This is just absolutely incredible. First time on shallow water snapper fishing. Absolutely awesome. Little light jig head. Thrown it out there with a little soft bait on, and it was just drifting down, and I'm going, no, this ain't going to work. It's not going to work at all, but hooked up to a nice snapper, and it's running hard. It was running nice and hard. Here he comes now. It looks like a nice fish too. Happy days. Woohoo! Birthday present for Ian. Here we go. Better bring this fella on board. Oh, look at that. That's the best fish all day. That is the best fish all day. Okay. So we've been chasing fish all day, and we come into the shallow water, throw out a little light soft bait. Fantastic. It tapped us lightly, and I thought, oh, just another tiddler. Then I picked it up and ran with it, and what a great experience, pulling some string off the line. Fantastic. A nice fish to take home for dinner. Beautiful. This one feels a little bit better. It might be a keeper.
Love the bruised banana. Nice little keeper.
Shallow water snapper fishing is very active, and you need to keep moving around and working the areas looking for fish. We were doing okay, only keeping fish that were more than 35 centimetres, which is a nice eating size.
Well, there's a touch. Yep. Well, yeah, that's slightly better. We're not setting the world on fire, but our efforts are being rewarded with a steady stream of fish, you know, sort of 30s to 35s. Probably just on legal. We're measuring, but more than likely let him go. So there we go, 33 and a half, 33 we'll say, a legal fish.
In the late afternoon, we decided to give some bait a go.
Adam's moved us to a bait fishing spot here because we're only catching babies, and this one feels a little bit better than what we got before, so hopefully on the end will be something worth eating. That's a keeper. That's definitely a keeper. Something for dinner.
Well, to say we've been plagued by smallish fish would be an understatement today. But finally, I've hooked something which just got a little bit more class. It's not heaps bigger, but just a little bit bigger. Still fishing in the shallows, probably 40 centimetres. But the light's changing, you know, things are looking good. Fish could be coming on the bite. Let's hope so.
As we fished into darkness, I reflected on what a fun day we'd had. Although we'd caught no trophy fish, we did end up with a good feed and had some great action in the shallows. Next, Darren shares some great tips on how to sneak up on snapper in the shallows.
Snapper are classed as one of the premier species for spearos to target. Contrary to popular belief, you do not require long breath holds or deep dives to enjoy snapper stalking. Snapper can be found in very shallow water if you can find the right terrain. Weedy, rocky areas with lots of gutters and a bit of wash make ideal snapper hunting areas. To catch a snapper requires a different set of skills for the spearfisherman. This is real hunting where your movements and actions have a great effect on your success. One of the keys when targeting shallow water snapper is a stealthy approach. From the time you enter the water, be aware of your surroundings and expect to see a snapper over every ledge or behind any boulder. Look at areas with plenty of kinners and mussels, as these are always worth prospecting. Take your time to look around and don't rush. Many snapper are spooked because they're not seen by divers. Use the cover of rocks and weed to keep yourself hidden. Check each likely looking spot 2 or 3 times to see if any fish are present. Big snapper will lurk just under the cover of weed and only show as the weed gets moved around in the wash. We like to use wetsuits and fins that offer a degree of camouflage, and we're constantly field testing different designs to see which offers the best results. If snapper is on your species target list, firstly identify a good area to hunt. Snapper are an interesting fish. Much of the time they can be very shy and hang back from the action, and at other times they can be bold and fearless and swim right up to you. We find many divers never see snapper or find them hard to get close enough to have a decent crack at them. I love the feeling when you look over the ledge and see a snapper feeding totally unaware of your presence. This means you're stalking perfectly. Don't let your ears squeak as you clear them. Snapper can hear this. Don't be in a rush to get a shot away. Take your time to select your target and wait until it's on the best angle for you to have a crack. Stick to the weed and the rock. Sometimes I watch a fish feeding before I start shooting. There could be a bigger fish or one you haven't seen that alerts the others. Often when I've shot a snapper, there is potential to see others close. I get the snapper up and away and dispatch so as not to alert any other potential targets. Wetty float boats are ideal to tow and stow your catch. Remember, stay shallow and in calm water and never drop your guard. Snapper can be anywhere. Guys often ask me where we should mount our GoPro cameras when we're spearing. This is a clear example of the two different situations. I like to mount 2 GoPros on my gun, one facing me, one facing the fish. Jackson's wearing his on his head. The difference is clear. My method is always underwater. The head-mounted method means sometimes the camera is out of the water. It's okay in situations like this where it's very clear and very shallow. Gemma shows girls can do it too. Note how far back she holds the gun so any snapper over the ledge won't see it. She's again taking plenty of time, ensuring for the shot and that there's no other bigger fish around. Snapper are so elusive. You have to reverse think. If you were a snapper on the bottom, could it see you? If so, there's a good chance you won't get it. Make sure there's no bubbles streaming for your mask or snorkel. If you have another diver with you, don't let them drift away from the rocks. They must stay tight and not be seen. As I said before, snapper love mussels. I often spend time hunting around mussel beds. I've shot snapper up to 11 kilos in the inner Hauraki Gulf in Auckland while they've fed on mussels. This one's not a monster, but very rewarding.